What caused Donald Trump to lose the government shutdown battle to the Democrats when he tried to get his border wall funded? Find out next. Welcome back to the channel. Derek Van Shake here. First, this video is not at all political. Whether you're for a border wall or against a border wall, that's not what this video is about. We're going to analyze key negotiation tactics and body language to reveal why Donald Trump lost this government shutdown battle to the Democrats when he tried to get funding for his border wall. Now, let's take a look back at where it all started.
Build that wall, 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 build that wall.
Since Trump won the 2016 presidential election and a border wall was one of his big campaign promises, Trump believed he had what's called a political mandate to fund and build a southern border wall.
Border funding battle heads to the White House this morning. Top Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer will be meeting with President Trump as he fires off a series of tweets this morning about the need for his border wall.
Okay, thank you very much.
Trump surprises everyone by inviting the entire White House press corps into the Oval Office to cover this negotiation. His two guests across the aisle are not happy with this surprise and may even feel a little set up.
It's a great honor to have Nancy Pelosi with us. The MS-13 lover, Nancy Pelosi. And Chuck Schumer with us. Senator Schumer is a bad leader.
Trump has a long history of brutal insults and attacks against these two Democrats. And yes, Democrats of course respond, but we've never seen a US president go as hard as Trump has with his attacks. To Trump's political base, it may be funny and entertaining, but the reason why previous presidents have refrained from attacking as hard as Trump is because in politics, there's what's called political capital. Trump has developed negative political capital with the Democrats. Previous presidents knew it's much harder to get the people you're attacking to help you with something you may need in the future, which is why they've refrained from making these harsh attacks against their opposition.
We've actually worked very hard on...
Let's now look at their body language. Congresswoman Pelosi is giving a tight, pursed lip smile. This indicates that she's holding back from saying her true feelings. Now look at how her hands are held tightly together. This is a sign of restraint. Senator Schumer isn't even trying to come across as not annoyed. He's looking completely away from Trump as he's speaking in a sign of complete disinterest and disrespect. Chuck is also holding his right wrist with his left hand, indicating self-restraint.
A couple of things that are happening. Criminal justice reform. Again, tremendous support from Republicans and tremendous support from Democrats, and I think it's going to get a very good vote.
Trump is reminding Chuck and Nancy of all the positive things they've accomplished together. But a border wall is so tightly woven to Trump's political base and something that Democrats are sharply against. Also, to many Democrats, Trump is radioactive, where it's an embarrassment to vote for the things Trump has strongly supported.
The Farm Bill is moving along nicely. And then we have the easy one, the wall. That'll be the one that will be the easiest of all. What do you think, Chuck? Maybe not? It is not an easy situation because the Democrats have a different view, I think, than I can say the Republicans. We have great Republican support. We don't have Democrat support.
From the start here, Trump implies that it's going to be a battle. When you're setting those negative expectations initially, that's going to carry through and manifest in the meeting. How do you think the tone of the meeting would be different if Trump said, I know we can come to an agreement on border security funding? When the press or maybe Chuck and Nancy laugh, saying back in a serious tone, no, I really do. We all have the same interests at heart. When convincing someone, focus on the overall positive outcome you want to create and keep them focused on your commonality. As soon as you go adversarial or suggesting the situation is win-lose, that's when gridlock happens.
Tremendous amounts of wall have already been built, and we will continue that. And one way or the other, it's going to get built.
Trump comes out with a strong-arm tactic of telling the Dems, you better approve my border wall in the 2019 budget or else I'll build it, by calling it a national security security emergency. Don't get me wrong, strong-arm tactics can be very short-term effective, but that's only if you have really good leverage. But throughout this entire shutdown, Trump lacks good leverage. When he was in business, he would probably say to contractors, lower your price or else I'll go with your competitor. That's good leverage.
It's a tough issue because we are on very opposite sides.
More Trump confirming an adversarial position with the Democrats instead of focusing on commonality.
So the wall will get built, but we may not have an agreement today. We probably won't.
Trump just emphasized his strong-arm tactic while also challenging the Democrats, causing them to want to fight back against him and not give him any border wall funding, even just out of their pride.
So that we can work together in a bipartisan way to meet the needs of the American people. I think the American people recognize that we must keep government open, that a shutdown is not worth anything.
Democrats immediately come out against the shutdown because they know shutdowns are widely unpopular and want to make sure they don't get blamed for it.
And that you should not have a Trump shutdown. There are equities to be weighed, and we're here to have a conversation in a prayerful way, so I don't think we should have a debate in front of the press on this.
A novice would say she's hiding something, but negotiations should be done behind closed doors so each party can speak openly and freely without any public backlash or criticism. This also indicates that she was willing to do a little negotiating with Trump. Remember, anytime someone wants something from you, that means there's an opportunity for you to ask for something from them.
We have a lot of disagreements here. The Washington Post today gave you a whole lot of Pinocchios because they say you constantly misstate how much the wall is built, how much of the wall is built, and how much is there. But that's not the point here. We have a disagreement about the wall, whether it's effective or whatever. Not on border security, but on the wall.
This goes back to Trump having negative political capital with Chuck. Whether the mistrust is right or wrong, Chuck feels he can't trust Trump. He doesn't trust Trump with the border wall effectiveness stats he tells. He doesn't trust Trump with the cost of the wall, and he surely wouldn't trust Trump with updates on border wall progress. Trust is critical with any deal. Chuck and many other Democrats just don't trust Trump.
We do not want to shut down the government. You have called 20 times to shut down the government. You say, I want to shut down the government. We don't. We want to come to an agreement. If we can't come to an agreement, we have solutions that will pass the House and Senate right now and will not shut down the government, and that's what we're urging you to do.
Remember, if the proposal passes both houses of Congress, it goes to the president to either sign or veto. So the shutdown is literally up to Trump.
Not threaten to shut down the government, because
let me just finish.
Trump was hearing how Chuck doesn't want to shut down, but seems to have taken that as Chuck is just chicken to shut down the government. Watch this.
You can't get your way.
The last time you shut it down, you got killed.
Basically, Trump just said, I can shut down the government better than you did last time.
You just say, my way or we'll shut down the government. We have a proposal that Democrats and Republicans will support that will not shut down the government. We urge you to take it.
And if it's not good border security, I won't take it.
It is very good border security.
And if it's not good border security, I won't take it.
The one thing I think we can agree on is we shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute. And you want to shut it down. You keep talking about it.
The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very quickly. And
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my will.
If we don't get border security, we'll have no choice. We'll close down the country.
None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You've said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, I am proud to shut down the government for border security. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border
But we
security.
believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Trump doesn't understand what career politicians like Chuck and Nancy understand. Government shutdowns are very unpopular. To win a shutdown or similarly a labor strike is not to come across as someone who's unreasonable and certainly not the proactive aggressor of the shutdown. The main way of winning a shutdown is winning public opinion that the hurt that people are feeling is because the other side is the unreasonable aggressor. Trump claiming full responsibility for this shutdown has sealed his fate from the start. Now, see if you notice anything with Chuck Schumer's body language.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Press, let's go. Make your way out. Thank you. Thanks, Press.
Chuck is smiling so much he can hardly contain himself. He's like a little kid on Christmas. His arms are moving in and out with excitement. He's trying to hold them in and down. Chuck knows he just won this. All the Democrats need to do is play defense from here on out, because Trump just dug himself a hole. If Trump shuts down the government, he'll of course be blamed for the shutdown and look bad politically. If Trump accepts the Democrats' border security funding amount and doesn't shut down the government, he won't get his border wall through congressional funding and will also come across as weak.
The president made clear that he wants a shutdown. If he sticks to his position for a $5 billion wall, he will get no wall and he will get a shutdown. We want border security, but Americans know that the wall, not paid for by Mexico anymore, is not the way to border security.
If we close down the country, I will take it, because we're closing it down for border security, and I think I win that every single time.
He said, I'll tell you what, I'm proud to shut down the government. I'll be the one to shut it down.
I am proud to shut down the government for border security.
Taking full responsibility for the Trump shutdown.
I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it.
Perhaps he doesn't understand people need their paychecks. Maybe that's not the life he leads.
The Democrats are absolute hypocrites. All along, they've been supporting walls and supporting fences.
Illegal immigration is wrong.
To build a barrier.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected.
The fact is, they've always supported fences and walls and partitions, but you know what? They only don't want to do it because of me.
That's actually very true. When you have negative political capital with the people and party you're hoping to get something from, they're not going to want to help you out.
The president informed us that he will not sign the bill that came up from the Senate last evening because of his legitimate concerns for border security.
An apparent agreement blew up today when President Trump rejected a temporary spending bill passed by the Senate, but that does not include $5 billion for a southern border wall.
I'm fighting very hard for border security, so important. I've already started building the wall. It's up to the Democrats, so it's really the Democrat shutdown. So now it's up to the Democrats as to whether or not we have a shutdown tonight.
Congressional Republicans voted on including border wall funding, but Democrats voted it down, so it didn't pass the Senate. This is when Trump tries to pivot, where he now pins the shutdown on the Democrats. But very few people buy that. After meeting with Chuck and Nancy, he had time to think it over.
And that you should not have a Trump shutdown.
Trump surely realized he's not going to win this standoff if he takes full responsibility for the shutdown.
President Trump has thrown a temper tantrum and now has us careening towards a Trump shutdown for an unnecessary, ineffective, taxpayer-funded border wall that he promised Mexico would pay for.
We will see a partial shutdown tonight at midnight.
A number of federal agencies will be closed. We've already seen dozens of national parks closed today, and 380,000 federal workers, not to mention all the contractors and others, will be sent home without pay.
Negotiations have stalled, and it's looking like the shutdown is going to last into 2019.
Several 100,000 workers are still working, though it's not clear when or if they will be paid.
Democrats are saying, we're not going to give you anything for the wall. So to many in the public, this may look like the Democrats are the ones who are not prepared to do any give.
Judy, who said I'd be glad to shut down this government?
I am proud to shut down the government for border security.
Who said I will take full responsibility for shutting down this government?
I will take the mantle of shutting down.
All Democrats have to do to win this shutdown is just point the finger at Trump as the reason for the shutdown and wait for the negative political pressure to be too much for Trump to bear. Keep in mind too, it's also negative press on Trump and the Republicans, which is good for the Democrats in the 2020 presidential and congressional elections.
The $5.6 billion approved by the House is such a small amount. We're asking for 5.6. And, somebody said 2.5. No, look, we spend in Afghanistan more in 1 month than what we're talking about for the wall. Think of that. The $5.6 billion is such a small number. Literally, it's a month. It's 1 month in Afghanistan.
Yes, in the grand scheme of the government's budget, $5.6 billion isn't that much. But it's not the money. It's what the Democrats see as a divisive Trump political issue. It has to do with Trump's negative political capital and lack of trust with the Democrats, and the way he tried to strong-arm the Democrats into funding his border wall.
Public trash cans spilling onto national parks. National Park Services can't clean up the mess until Congress and the president reach a spending deal.
We never saw a major nationally televised Republican-Democrat debate on just the border wall issue. So I ventured creating a nonpartisan one for you all, right here, right now.
We believe the wall is wrong on many counts. The wall is ineffective.
I can personally tell you that physical barriers, that walls actually work.
The vast amount of hard narcotics don't come through places like this. The vast amount of hard narcotics come through at the ports of entry.
The wall is expensive. The wall, when promised by President Trump, he says it's a campaign pledge he must keep. That was not his campaign pledge. His campaign pledge was to build the wall and have Mexico pay for it.
And Mexico will pay for the wall, 100%.
Not American taxpayers.
They are paying for it with the incredible deal we made called the United States, Mexico, and Canada USMCA deal. It's a trade deal. Mexico is paying for the wall indirectly.
Go to DonaldJTrump.com as of right now. It reads, quote, "It's an easy decision for Mexico. Make a one-time payment of $5 to $10 billion.
The president has no plan to deal with eminent domain. There are hundreds of landowners.
It will have to get through the Tohono O'odham Nation and their land.
I think he wouldn't like it if I built a wall right through your home.
Who will go to court and fight every attempt by the federal government to expropriate their land. That will take years.
I just want to talk about some of those criminals that Border Patrol agents apprehend on a daily basis. People that commit very serious crimes in this country.
The people in this community, they've been telling us all day long, they feel very safe.
The Trump administration has not even spent the border security funding allocated by Congress last year.
Somebody said that we didn't spend the money. Well, we have spent it, but we don't pay contractors before they finish the job.
To so many Americans, we do not want the wall to be a symbol of America, much preferring the Statue of Liberty be that symbol.
We've never had more people wanting to come to the United States, and that has to do with the economy. The better we do, the more people want to come in.
Now, Trump is asked about using emergency powers to build the border wall. Watch this.
Have you considered using emergency powers to grant yourself authorities to build this wall without congressional approval? And second,
Yes,
on
I have.
Mexico, you have.
Yes, I have. And I can do it if I want.
So why doesn't Trump just do that? Seems a lot easier, right? It's likely because there's a good chance it'll be challenged at the Supreme Court, and if he loses that challenge, he likely won't be allowed to build it using emergency funding.
He needs to convince at least some of the 57% of the public who oppose a border wall that there is a clear and present need for one.
Tonight, I am speaking to you because there is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border.
Trump has the immense uphill battle to turn public opinion for his wall, which is why we saw him do so many White House speeches, media interviews, and tweets. Public opinion generally needs to be overwhelming for a border wall within a very short period of time. However, public opinion turns as slowly as a cargo ship.
This situation could be solved in a 45-minute meeting. I have invited congressional leadership to the White House tomorrow to get this done.
The president just got up and walked out.
As I play this next piece, see if you notice anything with Nancy Pelosi's body language.
He asked Speaker Pelosi, will you agree to my wall? She said no. And he just got up and said, then we have nothing to discuss.
Yep, she can hardly contain her smile. She seems to know this looks really bad for Trump.
They demanded once again that before any negotiations could begin, that we would have to agree to reopen the government. If he reopened the government quickly, would she be willing to agree to funding for a wall or a barrier on the southern border? And when she said no, the president said goodbye.
The Democrats are holding firm, waiting it out, and playing defense, because that's all they need to do to win this.
The Food and Drug Administration has announced that it stopped routine food safety inspections in many cases, including checking fruits, vegetables, some seafood, and many other foods.
The Republicans are extremely united.
Collins, along with Cory Gardner of Colorado and Tom Tillis in North Carolina, have already called for an end to the shutdown.
Shutting down the government is not governing.
The Bearcat that we use when we serve warrants
President Trump visiting the U.S.-Mexico border to try to make the case for his border wall, asserting he will almost definitely declare a national emergency if there's no compromise with Democrats about the wall.
When I took the oath of office, I swore to protect our country.
More tweets, more promotional videos, and more White House speeches. But none of it is moving the needle much on public border wall favorability. Again, it's an immense uphill battle, especially since the public understands that from Trump's own admission, he's the aggressor who caused the shutdown and economic pain for millions of Americans. This was a complete botch job of a government shutdown. Government shutdowns and labor strikes create pain, and as soon as you admit you're the reason for that pain, you lose. Many will say that a border wall is critical for our national interest and security, but it doesn't mean a government shutdown is necessary to get it. Yes, the Democrats are against it and Republicans are for it. So what else is new? That's just politics. What typically happens is the president uses his spotlight as the leader of the nation to focus the national discussion onto his topic of choice. In this case, it's the border wall, creating a national debate, using the media, and then finally drafting and sending a bill to the House of Representatives and then the Senate that can likely get passed to the president to sign. Trump was the CEO, president, chairman of his own company. He's not used to doing any of that. Understandably, he's used to whatever he says goes, and strong-arming contractors who built his casinos, buildings, and golf courses into lowering their prices. That kind of strong-arming doesn't work in a two-party political government, even if you're the president. In politics, a president's political capital is his currency to get things done. Regardless of the reason for this, the reality is that Trump has negative political capital with the Democrats. So getting Dems to support Trump's big campaign promises is going to be very difficult.
I am very proud to announce today that we have reached a deal to end the shutdown and reopen the federal government. You are fantastic people. You are incredible patriots. Again, I thank you. All Americans, I thank you. You are very, very special people. I am so proud that you are citizens of our country. It could never be done without you. Great people. In a short while, I will sign a bill to open our government for 3 weeks until February 15th.
The negative political pressure on Trump for the longest government shutdown in U.S. history mounted so high, he relented and decided to open the government for 3 weeks without getting any funding for his border wall.
If we don't get a fair deal from Congress, the government will either shut down on February 15th again, or I will use the powers afforded to me under the laws and the Constitution of the United States to address this emergency. We will have great security.
Could he shut down the government again? Yes, but he probably won't want to put himself in that shutdown aggressor position ever again. We stayed completely nonpartisan this whole time. Now, let's break that. In the comments, let everyone know why you are for or against a southern border wall. Put that in the comments below. Remember to subscribe for more body language, influence, and investigative videos, and I'll see you at the top.